Hey, what's up everybody? Radx here, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, and today I'm just going to be giving you an update on what's going on with the 9/11 truth video. That obviously YouTube won't let me play it, so what I've done is I moved it over to another platform, and it's going to be up on my bitchute account that I got up a while ago, but I never really did a whole lot with it, so I guess now I have incentive to actually push videos out on bitchute, so that's where that's gonna go. So if you want to watch that video, it will not be up tonight, but it will be up tomorrow because I just don't have the time to complete it tonight. I already had the video done, but I went back and I watched it, and I was just like, I need to add more stuff so that way you guys, people, when they watch it, they understand the connections. By the way, I put up a couple of videos last night on there, and then just like overnight there was like 50 views on one video. I think it was like I can't remember which one. Anyhow, I know you guys have been paying attention to what's going on with the Clockwork Orange Godfather Madness Trump and the fact that he got banned from Facebook. Well, it is like conspiracy. I'm not saying that, I'm not claiming conspiracies, but I'm saying it is kind of like conspiracy. It's the same thing that happens when I'm trying to post just factual evidence on the 9/11, the stuff that's already, that you can look up already on YouTube, but I just said, hey, here's the connections of all these things together without adding anything different. All I'm doing is taking stuff that's already on YouTube, the content's already there, putting it together and putting the pieces of the puzzle together and displaying it for you guys to say, hey, look, here's the bigger picture of what's going on. Then they want to cover it up. So yeah, that kind of seems conspiratorial, up until this point I never felt like there was too much anything that has to do with conspiracy and time hack, but it just may have to be with the whole 9/11 thing altogether. However, I am going to be talking about, the stuff that's going on with Trump today, but before we get to that, you need to understand all of the players in the game, all of them, and you need to understand that they all are connected to 1972. And when I'm saying that, I mean like the whole thing with Bill Gates, right? 1972, Bill Gates gets his first company, Trafto Data. Well, he's been a big deal ever since 1972. And even the stuff that went on with the virus and everything like that, and they were, last year, I don't know if you guys remember, but they were praising him, saying that, he warned everybody in 2015 or whatever that this was going to happen. And we know his connections to everything else that's going on with that, right? So you have Bill Gates, 1972. You also have Anthony Fauci, 1972, right? He's another key player for what's happening right now. Everything's going to come to a head this year. He started off in 1972 at the NIH, the National Institution of Health, with infectious and allergy and diseases. So, I mean, he's a big deal, so he's a figurehead. Obviously, Biden, too. And here's another thing, too, guys, that you got to understand, is whenever I say something on any form or whatever, if I say, hey, the Clockwork Orange Godfather Madness, he's not human, it's not what you think he is, then I get a bunch of hate from the right. People saying that I'm a lefty. I just went on a thing yesterday, and I left stuff about when they were talking about Biden. I said, yeah, he's not who you think he is, and X, Y, and Z. And the same thing, and I get like a ton of hate over there and like toxic, from the lefties, saying that I'm a gun toter and calling me like all kinds of stuff and saying I'm a racist. And I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about me. You're calling me a racist and you're saying that I love guns. I'm a martial arts instructor who's biracial. But it's just the insanity that you deal with on both sides. And right now, if you're already triggered, right? Like if I'm saying this and you're already triggered, then you need to understand it's not completely your fault. Like you've been set up for this. Like this has happened to you. It's not really that you really chose it. You don't even know that you have been pushed into choosing a left-right paradigm. You've been pushed in one extreme or the other. Like to be able to hear something about something that you're passionate about and not get triggered means that you're more of a sound mind. To continue down the list, Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Like they're trying to remove him this year from, like, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they're trying to remove him this year from being the head of, Israel. Okay, right? Well, in 1972, which is in my 9/11 video, he became famous. The biggest, his starting point for fame was in the year 1972, because he was shot in the arm when he was trying to rescue some Israelis from Palestinian terrorists. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, what is going on right now today? Okay, so these people, they have their roots from that year. So now you have Bill Gates, you have Anthony Fauci, you have Benjamin Netanyahu, And of course, you have Joe Biden. His start, when he started off, was in 1972, was when he became elected as the youngest senator in history, but be elected at 29 years old. Although you're supposed to be 30 when you become a senator. And I said something about that on a video, and like all these lefties like came at me and were yelling at me, he didn't do anything illegal, and they're just going off, and I'm just like, you guys are fools. You have no idea what's really going on. But whatever, you go ahead. And that's when they start calling me, a gun toter and stuff, and calling me a racist. It's just hilarious. But it's the sickness on both sides. So you see that's when he started, and in that same year, right after he became elected as the youngest senator, his wife and daughter died. So it wasn't just like one thing. It was like that was like the main thing that like brought so people on the left and people on the right forgot their biases towards Biden in 1972 when he became elected as the youngest senator, because of the fact that he just lost his wife and his kids. So he got this sympathy, which is what I said was going to help him win the White House in 2020, when I said that, he was going to be elected the oldest senator or the oldest president in history, and he was going to play off of this sympathy card. It's the same thing. I said that that's what's going to happen. It's exactly what happened. And if you go and look at my old videos, you will look that before the election happened, I literally said, this is how the election's going to go down. And you can look at comments and people on there saying that that's not going to happen, that Trump's going to win, and yada, yada, yada. And I said, I agree with you. It looks like he should win because it looks like he has more support. And yes, Biden does look like he's just kind of propped up there and he's too old and X, Y, and Z. But this is what's going to happen. Regardless of what you guys want to happen, this is what's going to happen. And people fought me all the way to the end, and then bam, then it happened. I also said in that video that there was going to be a civil war, and that's coming. And so when people sit there and I say stuff about, the Godfather Clockwork Orange Madness, and I forget to keep calling Biden by his tag names is the Immortal Joe Biden, right? Like Immortal Joe Biden. I need to keep calling him that. I keep forgetting. And then you have Clockwork Orange Godfather Madness. And if you don't know why I call him the Clockwork Orange Godfather Madness, it's because people call him Orange Man. They saw Orange Man bad. In fact, when I was on that video and I left that comment, people were saying we need to get Trump out because he's, get him out of this country or lock him up because he's an Orange Man bad. We're finally going to prove that he's the Orange Man bad. So in 1972, Clockwork Orange was released here in America. So that's the reason why I tagged that to him. I'm like, okay, so this is a thing that's happened. This is a tag that's, connected to him. The other thing is the Godfather. When I call him the Godfather Madness, well, Anthony Fauci, who 1972 also said that, he referred to Trump as like the Godfather. And then you had the Francis Coppola Jr., who came out, who wrote The Godfather, which came out in the year 1972, and said that he went to high school with Donald Trump, and he talked about him and Trump's interactions and stuff like that, and talked about them talking about the movie that came out in 1972, Godfather. And the other reason why I was able to predict what was going to happen in the election, because of what happened to Trump when he was under investigation for discriminating against blacks in housing. And you can say whatever you want. The fact is in 1973, the lawsuit went through and they were sued. And then Trump and his father had to go through like all this stuff to show that they weren't racist people and that they were going to be doing more fair housing, right? Like if there was nothing there, then they wouldn't have had to worry about that, and they wouldn't have lost the lawsuit and all the things that happened to them, and the government coming down on them for being discriminative against black people. And I said, hey, if you look at the pattern, everything was going on in 1972, and you look at what happened with Trump in 1972, this is going to happen in 2020. It's going to be one of the reasons that he's going to lose the presidency. Stand back and stand by hurt him badly. And I don't care what you want to think or what you want to believe. You can sit there and try to boast it and say whatever and try to dodge it and do mental gymnastics to get around it. It did hurt him, because immediately after he made that comment, there was a lot of Republicans that typically were going to vote for him that came out and said, this is the last straw. Like, that was the last straw for them, and they just said, no, they're like, we don't want to be associated with that. And then the whole thing, if you don't remember, I think it was either right before that or right after that, the governor or whatever of Michigan, she was kidnapped or whatever, or they planned to kidnap her, and all that stuff went down with this white supremacist group, and this guy says stand back and stand by, I said that that was going to hurt him, and that's exactly what happened. So if I was able to predict the future by looking at 1972, not because I had a hunch. People predict stuff all the time. It doesn't mean anything because they predict stuff. They go, well, they have a hunch, or they have a feeling, or they prayed on it, or whatever. I really literally looked at the 1972 time hack and said, because of what happened here, and with all of the other things that are happening with 1972 and 2020, this is going to be the outcome of the election. So yeah, guys, look, the whole thing that's going on with what's happening right now with him going back on a rally, the Clockwork Orange Godfather Madness, this rally is not a rally for the next president's bid. I already know that, and most of you should already know that right now. This is the rally cry for the Civil War. I said this when the 6th happened. I said immediately after the 6th happened, I said this is the quiet before the storm. It's been quiet, things got tampered down a little bit, and now the storm is coming. Get ready, because there's going to be World War III is going to start. Like, a lot of stuff is going to go down elsewhere, and that's also, these things all have to happen at one time, guys. It just can't happen, abroad and not happen here. The whole thing has to work collectively. This is what the plan is. This is what the setup is. I've been telling you. It has nothing to do with what Trump and Trump supporters want. Has nothing to do with Biden and what Biden supporters want. It doesn't mean anything. You guys are all discluded. You don't even understand. This is the plan. It's what is set in motion. These people are the players. They're the master players. There's other people that are notable too from 1972, like Louis Farrakhan and the whole thing with the police and the Muslim at the mosque in 1972. Just so happens, and I don't know if you caught this before I talked about this, this actually came from Tintin. She actually put me on this path to really take a closer look at it. In 1972, there was a war in a mosque downtown New York where a police officer died, where Muslims and the police were fighting. Well, in September 11th, there was 72 police officers that died, and there was 19 hijackers, 1972. I mean, I don't really have to, I don't know how you guys don't get it. I don't know how you don't see the time hack. It's like all of these players, even the fact that now I've been doing a lot more research in, because all the stuff that's connected to the towers, and the fact that a Japanese architect created the towers. And the whole thing that's bizarre is that Harry Truman, not only did he create the CIA, the NSA, he also created the DOD, and he was the first American president ever to go into join the United Nations. And what are the odds that the man who created all of that stuff and was the responsible for making a call to drop the mother of all bombs on Japan dies in the year 1972? So you have the CIA, NSA, the DOD, and you have the United Nations, and another guy who created the FBI also died in 1972. That's all the major organizations, and those two men died in that year, in 1972. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's so much stuff. It's so deep. It goes beyond what your understanding is when you're just looking at these people that you believe that are just regular humans like you, just made their way up the ladder to fame, to fortune, made their way through the politics, became, these leaders that you just think that, or you think that your guy is the only one that's exempt from all of the other stuff. I don't care which one you choose. I don't care if you choose any one of the main actors, which I'm pretty sure it's always going to be Trump. Usually the Trump supporters swear up and down that he's just a normal guy. I'm telling you, he's not, and it doesn't really matter. It's the fact is what's going to happen. This rally is a rally cry for the Civil War. It's going to go down. It's going to happen this year. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'm trying to help get the message out to the humans. I know that YouTube is dark, shadow banning stuff that I'm saying and shadow banning things that I'm doing, and they're trying to funnel things off. So if you go over to BitChute and you type in RadX172, I'm pretty sure that you can find my videos on there. The last thing I want to point out is when people say time travel is impossible, I laugh at them because they're absolutely, or time manipulation is impossible. I laugh at them because they're absolutely foolish. They're idiotic when they say that. They truly believe that it's not possible to change the timeline, to go back in the past and change something, as if when you go into the past, somebody dies from something that you did, as if all of a sudden they're going to have immortality. That's insane and stupid to even believe that. But the fact is that what humans don't understand is when the timeline has been changed, you're living in that changed timeline. You absolutely would not know any different. So to say that it's not possible to change the timelines, how in the hell would you even know? Because you wouldn't know anything different. You know who would know that's what's different? The people who changed the timeline. Yes, they would know what's different. And if they can time travel and they can change the timeline, they can alter things that won't affect them. But it will affect you, and you will have no idea that it's ever happened. And when I hear people laugh and say, oh, the Mandela effect is fake, well, they should take a big step back and take a look into it and wonder why people believe that those things are happening. Okay, so if there is no such thing as a Mandela effect and everybody's just having a mass illusion, well then explain to those people how is it possible that they're all having a mass delusion. And if you can't explain that, then you need to shut up, take a step back and take a look at it and say, maybe there's something to this. Maybe something is going on. Maybe there's a reason why I'm not getting it. Maybe I am 100% brainwashed and that's the reason why I can't understand it. Just like a lot of other things that people just can't seem to process or understand. But anyhow, like I said, I will be getting up a few more videos on this channel before I'm done. Then that's pretty much it. I am going to be putting up more videos on BitChute, and I'm going to be doing a couple of other things that I think you guys are going to be surprised about, but it won't be on these platforms. However, it will change probably some things in the world. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyhow, with that, enjoy the rest of the time you guys have left, and get ready for the war, because it's definitely coming. Because he is not out there trying to drum up the I'm gonna run for president in 4 years. Because do you know how old he's gonna be? I mean, come on. And that's just not. And he's already said, I'm pretty sure I've heard that he's already said that he's gonna go back into the White House this year. This is set up for the Civil War. It's gonna happen, guys. So get prepared for it. I'm not telling you to join a side, one side or the other. I'm saying actually, ultra neutral is the only thing, because when all of this stuff comes out, and notice that all of those things are going down right now, right? Like the Civil War is going to happen, things that are going on with Israel, and they're trying to remove him, the fact that there's about to be World War III, and all of that's happening just so happens in the same year that they're going to be raising the veil and exposing stuff about the alien presence and stuff like that. Come on, guys, what are the freaking odds? I mean, do you not understand? Like, all of it works together, right? Like, it's all part of one big package deal. This is all part of the plan. And the fact that a lot of countries in the world dubbed 2021 the Great Reset. And with that, enjoy the rest of the time that you may possibly have left.